Aguilar said he has been whipping in the weeds on the issue, and Hurd has been working on his side of the aisle. Neither gave numbers of supporters, though Hurd estimated dozens of Republicans could back it. This is the building block that would have bipartisan support if it was on the floor tomorrow, Aguilar added. I feel confident about that. I feel the same as Will. If there are other pieces that have to come to get a signature, we'll take a look. Both lawmakers were elected in 2014, both defeating incumbent congressmen of the opposite party, and both defended their seats in rematch challenges in 2016. The partnership evolved out of Congressional Hispanic Caucus efforts to engage Republicans and see what they could support, Aguilar said. He even checked with his colleague Democrat Beto O'Rourke, whose district neighbors Hurd's and who did a 24-hour live-streamed road trip with him to D.C. O'Rourke affirmed that Hurd could be trusted, Aguilar said. Both noted that they were not in Congress for previous immigration reform battles, unlike some of their counterparts in the Senate and broader House negotiations, something they see as an advantage. I think it grew out of two folks that we don't have all the wounds from all the other infights over these topics, Hurd said. We're having really substantive discussions in a way that some of our colleagues can't because they're trying to fight the battles from 10 and 15 and 20 years ago, or because this isn't something that they work with or see a lot, Aguilar added. Aguilar represents the whip operation of the Hispanic Caucus, which has been one of the leading voices on the left and closely listened to by Democratic leadership in negotiating a deal. Hurd's district in Texas contains the most border of any lawmaker in Congress, from the outer ring of El Paso on the western edge of Texas to the region due south of San Antonio in the middle of the state. It includes more than 800 miles of border with Mexico, which is more than 1/3 of the entire U.S.-Mexico border. It's also a district Hillary Clinton won in the last election and has a heavy Hispanic population. That combination of knowledge, the duo says, was key. From my perspective, he has the most knowledge of issues that are going on in a border district than any member I've worked with or talked to, period, irrespective of party affiliation, Aguilar said. This is about solving the problem, and the only way you solve the problem is to do it with people that have the respect of their colleagues and knowledge of the problem, and that is Pete Aguilar, Hurd said. So, there is, something out there. There are people trying to fix this. I don't think it's going to work. Personally, I just don't see how it could work given the current leadership, people in the White House, people in the Justice Department. I just don't see how you get past that prejudice. I mean, and that's what it is. It's got to be. It's got to be prejudice. They don't want a solution. They want to use it as a bargaining chip. They want to use, like, hey, you want to save these guys, give us this. I mean, Trump is trying to do that right now with his border wall and his, no chain migration and his garbage. I mean, he started out by pretending, I don't want to do anything to DACA, but gosh, I can't help it. It's going to end, and Congress should decide. And then, no, this can't be part of the budget negotiations. It has to be a separate thing. They're just trying to use the DACA people as a bargaining tool because they know that Democrats care about that. And they don't. They clearly don't. I mean, they don't. I mean, you can see what they're doing at the TPS. They clearly don't care. They don't care what happens to people. So how are you going to fix this? By being logical? I kind of don't think so. And that's kind of the problem, more or less, and has been for a while. I know that I, very much like others of my ilk who work on these issues and who care about these issues and who speak out on these issues, we try to persuade with logic, with reason, thoughtfully, pointing to facts and figures and saying, look at this fact. Consider this truth. And what we run up against are people who's like, I don't care. Doesn't matter. You can't persuade me. I don't believe it. I don't want to believe it. It wouldn't matter either way. What is it about illegal that you don't understand? You know, that's the kind of place they end up with. It's sort of weird, like, what does that even mean? What it means is they've got this thing, this hook, that they can hang their prejudice on, that they can hang their hate on, that they can hang their fear and defensiveness and all those things on, and they're going to use it. It's like, well, but it's illegal. But they're illegal. But they're not citizens. They're not supposed to be here. It's illegal. What they did. They broke the law. They're criminals. They should be deported. Doesn't matter any number of other illegal things that go on. That's different, apparently. Or it's different who's breaking what laws or when or whatever, but it's like, you know, if you think about it, it's only legal or illegal if somebody makes a law about it, right? Otherwise, that's a meaningless term. If I had the power to make laws and I made a law that compelled people to listen to my radio show, on pain of a fine and going to jail or something like that, it would be illegal for you not to listen. Are you sick? Doesn't matter. It's illegal. You have to listen. It's the law. Are you busy? Got something you have to do by 8 o'clock tonight? You got to get it done? Too bad. It's the law. Starting to make a little sense there, if you think about it? Yeah. The law is just something that people decide this is the law. It doesn't mean the thing. Law and morals are two different things. Right and wrong bear only passing connection to legal and illegal. Certainly, the fundamental basis of many laws, or some of the basic laws, are based around notions of what is right or wrong, what is ethical or unethical. But there are a lot of laws that are neither right or wrong or ethical or unethical. You have to stop at a stop sign. Okay. Under certain circumstances, that's a good idea. Under some circumstances, that is the right thing to do. 99% of the time, nothing. Most of the time, you're stopping because they're trying to create a habit and say, well, every time you get to this corner, you should stop. Because sometimes there are people coming the other way. And in order for them to know that they can proceed at a good pace, you should stop right there. It is safer for you to do that. I mean, that's just one of a billion examples. It is against the law to drive without insurance. You must have a sticker on your license plate that says you have paid your license permit. All these things are laws, and I'm just picking on driving stuff because, you know, driving stuff, it's all about, or most of it is about order, keeping order. And there's a difference between keeping order and right and wrong. So, laws against hurting people, murder. Those are ethical questions. Those are right and wrong. Most traffic laws are about imposing order, in making it so that everybody is following the same set of rules so that everybody else knows what they can and can't do or should and shouldn't do under certain circumstances. You should stop X number of feet from a train track. You're supposed to do this and that. I mean, remember your last driving test. Think of all the things that are in there. And a lot of them are just very arbitrary. 20 feet, speed limits. All these different things are based around creating order. There are lots and lots and lots of laws that exist that are about creating order, predictability, defining proper behavior, not right or wrong, but just proper behavior. Use the passing lane, the straight lane. Walk on the right side of the staircase if you're going up, the other side if you're going down. Keep to your right. All these different things are to make it possible for people to live and work together and operate together in ways that are predictable and understandable, and just it works for everybody, because if everybody follows those rules. So a lot of laws are like that. Laws about immigration fall under that kind of category. It's an order thing. It is not a right or wrong. If you have a space, I'm in a room right now. There is a lock on the door, a combination lock. So only people with that combination are allowed in. The only people who are given that combination are members of the radio collective, if you will, and they're people who have been trained to operate the equipment and are therefore trusted to be in here unsupervised by themselves, because there's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot that you could break. There's a lot of problems you could create with it. There's a lot of things you could steal if you came in here. So that is a rule. Rules are like laws. Laws are rules, basically. There are people who are not part of this, who have not paid their dues, who are not part of the radio collective, who also have that combination and who also come in here. There are people who do not fill out the log sheets, which is, I will remind everyone, there is an actual law that you have to fill out the log sheets in order, to satisfy the FCC that you are complying with their rules and regulations. It is a legal thing. I have to read the disclaimer. That is a legal thing. All these things are legal things. But they're not right or wrong. If I didn't read the disclaimer, there'd be nothing wrong with that, nothing unethical about it. People wouldn't shun me on the street. I might get in trouble for it. The FCC might say, actually FCC wouldn't say anything to me, but WRFU might say, well, hey, you did not read the disclaimer. Therefore, legally, someone could sue WRFU for something you said on the show. So you have opened us up to the possibility of a lawsuit. That would be a bad thing. So I read the disclaimer. I do it at the beginning of every show. That way I don't forget. I don't run out of time. I don't do any of those things. But my point is, these are all just rules. They all exist for reasons. Some of them are good reasons. Some of them are weird. Like, why should I have to tell people that the things that are coming out of my mouth are my opinions and not anybody else's? Why would I have to tell anybody that? Is there anybody listening right now who is thinking, this guy is speaking on behalf of UCIMC? He's speaking on behalf of the Urbana Socialist Forum. He's speaking on behalf of WRFU or UPTV. How dare those groups hire or inspire or empower this spokesman to go out there and say awful things like that? I'm going to sue them. Is there anybody who is thinking that, I wonder? I can't imagine that there would be, but perhaps there's always that possibility that somewhere out there, there's somebody who just doesn't get it, that I'm just saying what I'm saying, what I'm thinking right now. And, WRFU allows me, they trust me to a certain extent, I believe. They let me come in here. They gave me the combination. They give me these shows. They let me do them. They don't supervise. I don't have anybody that I'm aware of who listens to my show and goes, ooh, well, at 12:52, he said this thing. I'm going to have to speak to him about that. No one has ever spoken to me about what I say. Is it because they agree with me? I doubt that. They probably don't even listen. They trust that you're smart enough to figure out that what I'm saying is my opinion, my view, my belief. But to ensure that, they ask that I read this disclaimer so that you know this. But this is all a very roundabout way of kind of trying to put into perspective the idea of what is legal and illegal and why that matters or doesn't matter. And so when someone trots out that stupid argument, what is it about illegal that you don't understand? It's so clear to me, and I would think it would be to you or to anybody who hears that this person, this is the last refuge. They don't have an argument. They don't have anything they can say. Whatever you're talking about, they don't have a good reason why you're wrong and they're right. What they have is this thing that they can go, oh, nope. I don't have to give you a reason because, look, illegal. Pointing over here. Look at that. Look at that giant word, illegal. That says it all. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to have an argument. I don't have to have a rationale. I don't have to have a justification. I can just point at that and say, look, it's illegal. That's enough. Nothing more needs to be said. That's what that means. So when I see these things, or I read these stories about this mass deportations. We wanted 200,000 people from El Salvador. They just want them to all go away. Why? Because the law is on their side. The law says XYZ. The fact that they are lawmakers doesn't seem to enter into the equation. The fact that they could say, oh, here's a problem. Here are the people involved in this problem. Here are the possible ways we could resolve the problem without hurting anyone, or at least without hurting very many people. That doesn't seem to ever cross their mind. It doesn't even float around the edges. All it is like legal. We want to get rid of them. What can we do? Well, we have the law here. This law says X. All right, let's use the law. We'll get rid of them. The point is getting rid of them. Pure and simple. There's really no other possible argument that you can make. Oh, you can, look at illegal. What is it about illegal that you don't understand? I see these people just pointing at this giant sign that says, the law, and they're just pointing at it like this means something. But it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It is a stumbling block. It is a problem, but it is a human, I don't want to say man-made, that's gendered, but it's a human-made problem that we make for ourselves that can change. It can be changed. We can change it if we want to. And we would change it if we cared about the people who are being hurt by it. If we don't care about them, then we won't change it. And that's where we are right now. And this is why I have been avoiding coming in to do this show for the last few weeks. Partly because it's just been really cold outside for, at least a couple of them. And frankly, I did not want to leave the house if I didn't have to. And so I didn't a lot of the time. But partly because this stuff is all going around in my head, and it's like, it's so frustrating. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what to say about it. I want the truth to matter. I want reality to matter. I want logic and reason to matter. I want science to matter. I want all the things that have been created painstakingly, bit by bit, over millennia of human development, of people going, how do we figure stuff like this out? How do we understand this? I want those things to matter more than, well, I feel this way, and so I don't care if it's right or wrong. It's right because I feel it. It's right because I believe it, or I want to believe it, so that's fine. It's my opinion. And I'm free to have an opinion, and the First Amendment allows me to have an opinion, apparently, according to some people. And no one can tell me not to have an opinion, and therefore I have this opinion, and that is my truth. I have faith in the rightness of my beliefs, and faith matters more to me than thinking, testing. That seems to be where we're at on so many different issues right now. We have a constituency, probably flexible, that just takes as an article of faith certain rights and wrongs and do's and don'ts and musts and must nots, and just clings to them like a limpet on a rock. How's that for an interesting example? That's something, if you know what a limpet on a rock is like, that means something to you. If you don't, that's like, what in the world is he talking about? Who knows? I don't even know what I'm talking about half the time. Okay, I'm excuse me, running out of time here. I'm trying to think if there's something I can read that's pretty quick. I've just been blabbing so much that I don't... quickly trying to read some headlines here. Bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. Oh boy. More bad news. Okay. Just to drive my point home even further, a story about Mr. T here, Mr. Trump. Entitled, Trump reiterates he wants DACA as long as it comes with a border wall. Yeah. As long as you get that border wall in there, yeah. Okay. So President Donald Trump reiterated Saturday that he wants to work with Democrats to find a permanent legislative solution to allow those protected by the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program to stay in the country, but only if it comes with a long-promised border wall and changes to the immigration system. So right there, stopping for a moment, editorial aside, border wall, what's the purpose of that? What does it do? Not much. Doesn't stop people from coming in the country. Maybe some, but most of the people that come here don't walk across the border. They just don't. That's not the biggest part of how people end up here. So what's the point of the wall? Let's think of it, and we'll just logically examine all this stuff here. The point of the wall is he said it. People are excited. His base is excited about the idea. They like it. It's a great big extended middle finger pointing towards south of the border. It's a great big statement, and he wants it because it makes him be right about his promise. He said he was going to do it. It makes it be right. He doesn't care that Mexico isn't actually going to pay for it. He'll just pretend that somehow they did, but he can't pretend that he built it when it's not there. That's one thing he knows. so he has to build it. That's the whole point of that. Okay. Because really, that is the whole point of that. Frankly, I don't care, in the grand scheme of things, I don't care if he builds a wall. It's an incredible waste of time. It's environmentally destructive. It's stupid. It's pointless. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of human power. It's a gross, disgusting thing that would have to be torn down. But it's not going to do anything to anybody other than just inflate his ego. That's all it does. Anyway, continuing the story. Speaking from Camp David after a meeting with Republican leaders, Trump said he wants the program, which has prevented the deportation of young, undocumented immigrants who were brought into this country as children, to remain, which is why he canceled it. The Trump administration announced in September that it was ending the Obama-era program, but gave Congress several months to act before recipients began to lose their protected status in March. That's not true. People are losing it every day. March is when the whole thing ends, but people are losing along the way. I don't know the number exactly, but they are losing it right now, every single day. Someone is losing it. So that is not true. Anyway, we want DACA to happen, Trump said Saturday. We all, everybody, I think I can speak for everybody. We want. What? This doesn't make any sense. And then it interjects John Cornyn from Texas. Okay. He goes on to say, we all want DACA to happen, but we also want greater security for our country. No, I'm sorry, great security for our country. Whatever that means. Okay. Democrats have been trying to push for a permanent DACA solution in exchange for funding the government. Trump has previously said there will be no DACA without funding for the border wall he promised during his campaign, as well as changes to tighten the immigration system. Quote, here's Trump. And remember this, it's just common sense. They're not sending us their finest. Okay. When somebody gets picked in the lottery, we're not going to get the best people. So we have to get rid of the lottery system. We have to get rid of chain migration. We have to have the wall. Think about that. That's what he said. That's what he says in public, in a microphone. They're not sending us their finest. The fact that they're not sending us anybody seems to be beside the point. The country doesn't sit there and go, okay, who can we send to the U.S. this week? Well, we've got these 5 people, and this guy's pretty great. Let's keep him here. But that one, yeah, we don't need him, so let's send him. That's not how it works. You know that. I know that. Everyone knows that, except apparently this orange-skinned thing. So right there you have just a ludicrous statement. It means nothing at all, except it offers the opportunity for the speaker to put down an entire group of people that he doesn't know anything about. And on that note, you have been listening to CU Immigration here on WRFU-LP Urbana, 104.5 FM. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you will join us again, and we'll see you next week.